Hi, I'm Francesco Garripoli, and I welcome you to another Wuji Mountain Musings. Today, it's number 126. This is from my book, The Qi Effect. And it's a curious one. It's a little bit long, but I engage you to hang with it as it's an important subject. A question that I've been asked many times over the years is, how long should my Qigong practice sessions be? It's actually a good and important inquiry with many implications. The first misconception is that more is better. People only know the fitness model and will equate that concept to Qigong and think that if I do 2 sets of bicep curls, then 4 would be twice as effective. So if I practice Qigong for 2 hours, it will get me healthier faster. Working with life force energy, what we call Qi, cannot be put into the same category as weightlifting. It operates in a different realm, actually a different dimension than what we are familiar with in the physical space. If you wish to anthropomorphize Qi or physicalize it, you'll go down a path that won't serve your highest good. We first have to accept Qi for what it is. And to be effective practitioners, we must engage our heart and intuition much more than our mind and our muscles. So that may seem obvious to you, or it may not. Because I know a lot of people who are really proud and boast to me about how many hours and hours they practice Qigong a day. Now that sounds laudable. Just like somebody who goes to a gym and they tell me, they get off work and they go work out for 4 hours. Well, if you want to build up a big muscular body, I guess that's the way to do it if you're in that physical realm mentality. But Qigong and Qi is not in that realm. So space-time, or the physicalness of things that muscles relate to, are different than the energetic system of our body. But of course, we're conditioned and we're socialized to think more is better, harder is better. There's a concept called Wu Wei, effortless action. This is a very gentle approach to take, and it requires our Yi, or our intuitive mind, to practice Qigong. To me, it's much more valuable and rewarding and effective if you practice consistently. So if you practice, we'll say 10 minutes a day, but you do it every single day, you'll create a pattern. Okay, you'll create a habitual pattern that will feed you and reset a lot of the, we'll call it ineffective programming and conditioning that's in your body and your mind. Because it's in your body. These memories are in your body. So if you are regular and consistent, it's much more important to me than the length of time that you spend. Okay, now, of course, it is important to remember that, you need to spend enough time to create a pattern. Okay, this is the nature. Humans are habitual creatures. So we need to have grooves set in our neural pathways in our brain. These are actual neural pathways that information travels on. They're physical. And we create new pathways through physical kinesthetic type of action. So Qigong is that kind of thing. And it does take enough time to be consistent. So I think 2 minutes a day probably is not enough. I think 4 hours a day is a little bit too much. So don't feel proud that you've spent so long doing something, because you may be just playing into a lot of those conditionings in yourself that are trapped in the physical realm. That's when I say anthropomorphizing things, making things look like you, where I work harder and I'm better, or I get exhausted. Qi doesn't work that way. Qi is an infinite life force resource. It's available everywhere equally in infinite supply. Our task is to tap into it. So if you're consistent with your practice, if you say every morning I'm going to practice for a half hour or 20 minutes, whatever that is, substantial but not excessive, you will now create those neural pathways and create that pattern in you that will start to override a lot of your other bad habits. People tell me they couldn't stop smoking cigarettes until they practiced Qigong consistently and they gave up that practice of smoking. They gave the practice of drinking. They gave up the practice of being lazy. Remember, being a couch potato is another addiction. It's another habit. So if you feel every once in a while a need to just give up or get depressed or sit on the couch and watch Netflix for the millionth time, imagine if that's the times you trigger yourself to do some empowering practice and make it consistent. And I think if you do pick a consistent time, maybe after work or before bed, I like mine at dawn. I always do it at sunrise. That's my consistent way to get my day going, but you may be different. So find what works for you, but keep it consistent and don't worry about the temporal part of it. Don't worry about how long you're practicing, but feel satisfied. So that's why we say in this musing to listen to your intuitive heart mind. You'll know there'll be something in you that says, I'm done. I hit that mark. I've done enough Qigong practice. And I assure you that's much better than looking at your phone to have a time marker for how long you've practiced, but to feel satisfied. It's like eating enough until you know you're full. This is called being self-sensitive, becoming self-aware. And if you let your Qigong, your Tai Chi, and your yoga practice be like that, you'll have a better relationship with your body and your mind because you'll be in sync with what is right for you. So respect that and build a habit that is positive and empowering, and your whole life will shift. I promise you, this is the nature of being human. So hijack that yourself and use what works for your benefit and your healing and your well-being. Peace.